So just another guy, I've got so many new farmers that I worked with that I just got to take a picture. And this is down in Indiana, a whole group of new farms. I was at a farm show and there was like 10 guys all from the same county. Well, I ended up with like 15 new farmers right in that region. And then an organic feed mill went in to service a bunch of our dairies. That's basically how I operate, is find dairies and then get them a feed mill and farmers to supply it locally without putting miles on feed. You know, here's some alfalfa I was just jumping off to cut, you know, and then there's one bloom in that picture, you know, and I'm cutting hay because in my rotations where I started, I had quality alfalfa. You got to cut it early, and you got to cut it 4 crops, 5. We're a 5-crop haymaker. We make 5 crops. So we cut early, so we move it all. Yeah, I just pulled in, that was July 26th. I'm taking 3rd crop. That's 2-year-old hay. It's going to corn next year. You know, that's how tight we rotate. It eliminates insect problems. It builds as much nitrogen profitably as I can run in a rotation. So, you know, that's what we've developed for a rotation. You know, there's end of July corn that's tasseled well over our heads. This was this year. This was 15 crop. So what I do with that, after I get that hay off, I lightly disc it. Actually, I've got a couple of pieces. I've got an old John Deere quack digger that I might run through it depending if there's grass in it, because, you know, that's part of weed control. Is my year before, I'm knocking the quack grass out and I'm planting a cover crop. So my cover crop on this particular rotation is like 8 pounds of tillage radish, 12 pounds of Sudan grass, 30 pounds of oats. I always buy some extra soybean seed so that I can put like 5 pounds of soybean seed, and I buy about 5 to 8 pounds of winter peas. And then I drill that in, and drill date on that is from August 1st to August 10th. I like to get that in. I mean, I force it in, even if I got to cut hay and it's not quite ready, because that has just made my corn crop and my weed control. So I just showed you a rotation. The next picture, I walked into that field right where I took that picture. Yes, ma'am?
Sorry. Were you going to let that winter kill then?
Those are all annuals. They're going to winter kill, yeah. Yeah, I plant all annuals. Good point. You know, I don't plant rye anymore. I kind of gave it up and built my rotation around annuals so that I'm not stuck there with rain and rye knee high, and then I got to cut it and deal with it. And I don't have a place for rye. You know, so not to say it's bad, but, you know, I can see it in these new crimp systems, and I've got that. So, you know, I don't want to ever say a bad word about any cover crop, but, you know, you got to make it work for you. So there, I didn't touch those fields because my cover crop took care of the weeds. I got one weed in that piece, and I random pictured. I didn't go in and look for a spot. I walked in. Every one of these pictures was I walked in to a spot, picked up the camera, and took a picture. So I had a good stand. I got no weed pressure, and you can see all that matter. That's all organic matter that I buried from that cover crop, and that feeds soil biology, and that has a definite impact on weed control. So, you know, this farm was 98. I bought this farm and started on it. So it took me this long to get that kind of you know, that's plowed and mulch. This one was just because the mulcher was at the farm. So, you know, that's not a real heavy mulcher. It was just enough to knock things down from the plow. So, you know, I didn't over-till it, and I plowed as shallow as possible. Most of my fields are pretty level, or if there's a roll, it's long. It's not steep. You know, so cover crops, we all, you know, the buzzwords cover crop. Get them in. Find a place to fit them in. here's a really nice cover crop chart, and what it does is it clears up all the lingo. A lot of guys, you know, they'll come in and they start talking cover crops, and they got warm season, they got cool season, they got broadleaves, they got grasses, they got legumes. So this really, you know, defines it well and helps you understand, and it gives you on the top all those boxes, you know, are all the information of what kind they are and what they use for water and things like that. So out in South Dakota here, Nebraska, Kansas, you guys are 20-inch rainfall areas. You're going to need low water usage type cover crops, and you're going to have to fit your system, you know, to what your climate is. Pretty critical. We're pretty lucky. I think we get like 35 inches of moisture a year between snow and rain. So, you know, we can put just about anything in. But you can too, as long as you get it in early, because that leaves more window for moisture to come up. So if anybody wants this program, why please come up and I'll give you a memory stick to load into your computer. All right, so here's you know, here's a cover crop that builds fertility. This is brand new information from Joel Groover. Joel's University of Illinois researcher, and he's really pro-organic, and he works from Macomb to Monmouth, Illinois, so that's real close to me. And this is a slide that he just put out here the last, probably within 6 months. It was last year's work. And what he did is he row planted all these cover crops. He took a corn planter and got the right disc to put these small seeds in, and he planted them in a row, 30-inch row, and then he come in and he planted his corn and beans on top of those annual dead tillage radishes and oats and all these crops to see what kind of yields he could get without fertility. So, and here was his findings. You know, take mustard in a row. Not that I'd ever recommend putting mustard on. We spend big money pulling mustard. When we got yellow fields, them Mexicans are right there. You know, they pull them and put them in paper bags, feed sacks. You know, so I wouldn't recommend it. But you know, when mustard's growing, there's a reason. So you know, what do you think the reason is? You know, the inter-row. That means between the 30-inch rows, he tested the soil, and then in the row, he tested the soil, and you know, look how much fertility he got on the P side and on the K side. Look at the potassium. So if your farm's low in potassium, and you wanted to put 500 pounds of potassium on, that would cost you about $400 an acre, which is cost prohibitive. You wouldn't do that. So that means you're going to suffer in yield. So, you know, and then the tillage radish, that's 2.5 times more. See, so this is new information, but my potassium has never dropped in my soils because I've always had cover crops on it. So I'm not buying a lot of fertilizer. I'm buying some, actually we buy out of an organic house, we buy poultry litter, and that's our basic fertilizer. Occasionally, if we test a field that, you know, we left in hay 4 years because it got out of rotation, or we just got rained out or didn't get the cover crop put on it, you know, then we'll find that our potassium may be low. But if we keep a 4-year type rotation with tillage radish and oats and soybeans and peas, you know, we find that our fertility doesn't drop, and we're not looking to buy that fertilizer, and we can spend that on other things. But you know, every year we're going to get smarter. We're going to learn more of how to. So that's just a picture of what mine looked like. This was in the ground like 32 days. That's what kind of growth I had on that, because I had just a little rain on it. So that's tillage radish, peas, Sudan grass, oats. There might even be a little buckwheat in there. There was some buckwheat left in the drill. So talking about some rye and then the new technology that's coming out and the research that's done by, yes?
Who got back to that slide where you interroll, and what happens if you work that ground, you plant it, you work the ground, you have to work the ground before you plant it. Your situation, you planted the crop right in the row where you have the mustard or where you have the radishes, right?
Right, they GPS planted that. Actually, you know, I have the show on that, but I can't put every slide in the slideshow. So let's go back to this, because this is really going to change the industry too. This slide.
So in our situation where you work the ground for penny grass or whatever in the springtime, does that destroy this data then?
No, because this was planted in the fall. This was planted in the fall, and then what they did is they tilled, then they ridge tilled. And his planter actually had little tillage tools right on it, and the ground was really loamy and loose. So he actually tilled and then ridge tilled on top of these radish rows, oat rows, which would really be a good way. If I was going to do something, that's what I think I would be doing, that type of system, or this roll down rye for row crops. You know, that would be a good system for corn. But that slide I had up for the rye, they're figuring that out too. So.
Let me be clear. So if that's fall planted,
Right.
Dies, and then if you go across it with a chisel or something like that, go crossways, then probably you can't plant that row then.
Well, you know, he's doing research. So I'm showing you what kind of benefits you're actually getting on the fertility side, you know, with a cover crop. Because, you know, I'm definitely interested in not buying any more fertilizer than I have to. You know, but yeah, you get spring weeds come quick. Yeah, you need to make a pass. Yeah. So what do you use? A disc?
Just chisel in our area.
Okay, disc chisel.
Finisher or something like
Sure,
that.
sure. Yeah. So it's not vertical tillage, it's tossing back and forth. Yeah. You know, I don't know why. You know, as long as you're putting that kind of fertility there, what difference does it make if it's in the row? He just had a ridge tiller, you know, and he's doing research to help farmers figure out the least amount of fuel. You know, so if that would be your case, just to talk it through, if you had a no-till cultivator where you had one sweep and you cut that off, and you took your ridge and you pulled some dirt away and you had a GPS planted, you could be within 3.5, 4 inches. You could actually be no-tilling into that. Yeah, I mean, the way our competition's coming, we're going to be looking at every dollar we're spending to stay profitable if we want to continue to grow organic crops, because there's a lot of acres coming from overseas.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cover crop, 30-some days. Amazing how fast it grows when it hits water. So here's some rye. This is at the University of Wisconsin Research Farm. They have 40 acres organic already, and they got a new dean in there that's really pro-organic, so things changed a little bit. There's still a pretty big struggle, but you know, they got 40 acres certified, so we got some land there that we get to work with. And Erin Silva is her name, and she's really a top-notch researcher and educator. So, you know, they have a PDF, so anybody that's interested in that, just go right to the University of Wisconsin no-till organic roll-down rye system, and it'll come up. If you can't find it, call me, and I'll talk you through the website to get to it, or if you want it, I got it on my computer. So yeah, this is a really good system. They've taken and measured the day you plant the rye, how much biomass you need to make this work, the planting date of the crop. So they've got a lot of data. There's 7-8 slides on that PDF, or 7-8 pages on that PDF that really tell the tale. And very, very few weeds break through that. That's just, so, and I've been to that farm and seen that for 3 years. So, you know, I've got some really good hands-on experience, and I've got guys that are buying these crimpers and putting them on a light 3-point and doing this. All right, marketing. Just a little, here's our NOP price. It definitely come down, and this was the 20th. So this is actually 2 weeks old. There's probably a new one out there. I don't know, I did this presentation and it used that slide in Ohio 2 weeks ago, so they didn't have the new one out there. But yeah, we're definitely coming down. There's a milk price, current milk price, and that's why there's some real interest here. South Dakota Rural Development had a meeting up in Clear Lake, and there was 50 farmers there, so this could be a market for some alfalfa here to diversify some rotations, and that's what would really be a big plus here. You'd have a local market, and I want to talk a little bit more about local markets and diversification, because that all plays a role in weed control. So here's just a little information on imports and how fast it's growing. So if you look at soybeans as line 2, 1/3 of all the soybeans used in the U.S. are imported. So, and that's going to grow. That's really going to come up next year. This is 14. This year was a big year. Imports, the imports in 2015 succeeded the 2014 imports in June.
Is this
So,
clear Highland or dark Highland?
I'm not sure, Bart. I wouldn't have a clue.
Hopeful beans or feed beans?
Organic soybeans.
Okay.
Crush. They're going to the crusher. Yeah, they're going to the crusher for poultry feed.
Dark.
And are you showing this too because you're looking at opportunity?
Right. Yeah, well, if this is the trend, what are we going to do with all of ours? Because they're coming in from the coast, and they're even coming in from into the lakes. So you can throw it on a truck and be in South Dakota in 4.5, 5 hours. So you're not going to keep them out. We're going to need to have a home for our local stuff, and we're going to need to make some changes. Here's the corn, yellow dent corn line 10, up 80%, 85%. This year it'll probably be 120. Who knows? It's not out yet. Right. So I still want to visit just a little bit about local here with these dairies coming into this region here, being the meetings here. There's going to be real opportunities there to get, if you got any buildings on your farm that you could use as a dairy or even a loafing shed. We've got a person hired at Crop that comes and designs parlors. So if you got the freestall type barn, you can get a parlor in for $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. There's a lot of used good equipment out there that our procurement agents are looking at for farmers and helping guys get set up. We just went down into Missouri, and last year I worked there for I don't know how many weeks, a long time. I put on procurement meetings and went to every farm call. And once the word gets out that Organic Valley's coming to set up some dairies, now we got 100 dairies pegged that we're going to be picking up in Missouri, and our first route starts real soon. As soon as the cows hit the grass, they'll be on. So, we're gonna do that here too. So diversity is the key to weed control, and here we're going to get a swing at some hay. So here this association can help coordinate. How many farmers are we going to get in South Dakota? So this would be some really good planning for our group here to say, okay, well, we can supply 10 of those dairies, and then those dairy people don't have to reinvent the wheel and go out and get big farm equipment, and they can just be experts in that field, and we can be the growers. I mean, it'd be nice to look at a system like that. Then they could take all their steers and raise their steers and market that as organic, and we don't have to export any grain. So those are some of my thoughts, and, hey, thanks for the time, I appreciate it.